What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and some terrible news for Disney. I'm sure you're all tearing up right now. Get your Kleenex, and just settle in for some just terrible news for Disney Co. Their earnings report came out yesterday. It was bad news across the board. In fact, their stock has absolutely plummeted over nearly 11 points. You can see at the end of the day, Wednesday, the earnings report came down. It went from $175 down to $159, a drop of nearly $16 per share. You're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars in market cap. And it didn't really recover today either. Why? Well, several things. First of all, nobody cares about Disney Plus anymore because life's going on. Initially, everybody subscribed to Disney Plus because, well, they had that Papa Joe money and they were all home at work. And conveniently, Disney Plus launched the same month as the international lockdowns. What a coincidence. Anyway, now they've basically maxed out. Disney Plus adds only 2 million new subscribers, which, by the way, is not nothing. What do you pay, like $8 a month or something like that? So it's not nothing, but it's pretty piddly for them. And average monthly revenue falls. In the report, this is via Bounding into Comics. By the way, I've got a couple different sources here. In the report, Disney noted that Disney Plus subscriber count hit 118 million subscribers as the end of October 2nd. By the way, be prepared for prices to go up now. Now that they've maxed their penetration, giggity, then they're going to end up have to raise prices to continue to show their investors that they're making money. That was only an increase of 2.1 million for their Q3 earnings report, where they reported they had a total of 116 million. Not only did they only add 2.1 million subscribers, but their average monthly revenue per sub decreased from $4.12 to $4.12 from $4.16. 4 cents per user. Not really that big of a deal, but when you're talking about 120 million users, it's something. They did increase subscribers by 44.4 million compared to October 3rd. That's a 60% increase. Disney doesn't specifically address the decrease in revenue per subscriber from quarter to quarter, but they do explain why it decreased from the prior year. They stated that the average monthly revenue per subscriber decreased from $4.50 to $4.12 due to a higher mix of Disney Plus Hotstar subscribers in the current quarter compared to prior year. I'm assuming that means that they have some sort of discount available. The total direct-to-consumer revenue did increase. While the revenue increased, their operating loss also increased as well from prior year. It increased to 630 million from 374 million. This is such a weird way to write this, dude. You should write it. It went from 374 million to 630 million, not this other way around. There's my editorial feedback for you. Disney explained the increase, stating that the operating loss was due to higher losses at Disney Plus and to a lesser extent ESPN Plus, partially offset by improved results at Hulu. A lot of people don't know this. Disney owns Hulu. They further stated the higher loss at Disney Plus was due to the programming and production, marketing, and technology costs. Don't really care about all the specifics. You lost money. Now, higher subscription revenue reflected sub growth, increases in retail pricing. Higher Premier Access revenue was due to 2 releases in the current quarter, both Black Widow and Jungle Cruise, compared to 1 release in the prior year, Mulan. These are the people that pay $30 on top of their $10 a month at Disney Plus. Shame on you if you do that. In contrast, Netflix reported back in October that they added 4.4 million new paid subs, bringing their total to 213.5 million people. They note that the APAC region was the largest contributor to the membership growth with 2.2 million. I don't really care about that. But what's interesting to me is other pieces, little nuggets, tasty nuggets of information from the earnings report. Looks like both Black Widow and Shang-Chi lost money. I'm actually surprised to hear that about Black Widow because they had the 60 million in Disney Plus money, but also, Shang-Chi is a fine movie. It's just the marketing sucked. There's nothing wrong with that film. It's a lesser known star. They had the typical $200 million budget and they just didn't get there. On this, by the way, a lot of you are probably wondering about Eternals. Eternals will most assuredly lose money at this point. That said, we won't see that until next quarter. Marvel's House of Cards is indeed crumbling as box office tanks with Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and Eternals. It's further learned that Disney Plus subscriptions haven't met expectations, which has seen the company stock drop. Regarding the Disney Plus subscriptions, we already talked about that. Now, the Black Widow and Shang-Chi stuff. Regarding Marvel, the brand doesn't appear what it used to be when actors and characters such as Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, Chris Evans as Captain America led the MCU. As Disney's investor report offers a different tune, where it's confirmed that the latest Marvel movies have been a fail. Eternals will be part of next year's release of Q1 investor report. Now, the other interesting thing is they also have been delaying. They delayed Ms. Marvel yesterday, I believe, as well. The decrease in theatrical distribution results were due to a higher operating loss from titles in release and increased marketing expenses for future releases. Jungle Cruise, Shang-Chi, and The Legend of the Ten Rings, Free Guy, and Black Widow were released in the current quarter, whereas prior year included The New Mutants. Yikes. The company incurs significant marketing costs before and throughout theatrical release, which may result in a loss during theatrical distribution. Now, they can make this money back up if down the road it leads to more Disney Plus subscriptions, or I don't know if people still buy DVDs, but if people buy the DVDs or what do they call them now? Ultraviolet 4Ks, super duper discs. I don't know. But if people are still buying physical media, then they can make money up there. Basically, this means that Black Widow and Shang-Chi did not make enough to offset marketing costs. To be fair, that means yet. I don't know what the revenue opportunities are now because, 5 years ago, DVD sales would be significant. I remember I worked at Walmart, and it was I think it was Thursdays that we put the new DVDs out, and there was always the same people that came in every week and bought all the new movies. And this was particularly true for Marvel movies or Disney movies. The underestimated amount of subscribers also meant that Disney Plus Black Widow release didn't bring any new subscribers. It certainly did. That can't be a reasonable assertion from reading the data. Released in July as no one wanted to sign up and pay the extra $30 to watch the movie. Additional evidence Black Widow was a big fail on Disney Plus comes from the fact that Disney only reported the opening numbers for the release on Disney Plus and haven't given numbers since. If something is successful, you're going to brag about it for the promotion. That's fair. Now, it did make $60 million on Disney Plus, which is no joke. That was at $30, so 2 million people paid $30 to watch it. So now $60 million due to having to pay out Scarlett Johansson, which they settled the loss reportedly north of $40 million, plus whatever Disney paid in lawyer fees. It also means the What If animated series released in August did nothing for Disney Plus subscriptions, or very little, which is simply proven by the fact that the premiere episode featuring Captain Carter didn't make it into the top 10 ratings streaming from Nielsen, while the previous live-action shows from Marvel did. The What If show, again, I'm not sure that they were expecting that to be a gigantic blockbuster. It seems unreasonable to have that expectation of a film or of a series that is clearly like this is not meant for everybody type thing. Touching on Shang-Chi, the problem with Shang-Chi is that only the hardcore Marvel fans came out to see the movie, which isn't a lot. Shang-Chi had a box office of about $430 million. The flick will now be free to watch for subscribers starting this Friday, which I'll watch. In no surprise, Disney investor report also confirms a decrease at our consumer-based products. Well, yeah, nobody's going to buy your merch, which is in part due to the failure of Marvel Avengers video game that features Ms. Marvel that no one else likes. I don't know. That's who made that? Wasn't it Crystal Dynamics or something like that made that? I don't know how much Marvel and Disney had really to play with that. So lower results at consumer-based products were driven by lower royalties from licensed video games, Marvel Avengers, and Twisted Wonderland. Okay, well, they did mention it. Not even Marvel is growing Disney Plus. Interestingly, enough prior to the release of today's investor report, known Disney leaker WDW Pro claimed Disney Plus subscriptions were stale and that Marvel is to blame, with rumor offering that Disney is going to focus on building Disney Plus with Star Wars, as The Mandalorian has been a huge success. which involves the recent news of Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron being shelved. Filoni essentially runs everything at Star Wars now. Burbank is thrilled with Boba Fett's response. They need Disney Plus growing, and Filoni seems to know how to do it. Not even Marvel is growing Disney Plus. Disney Plus equals stock value going forward. That's true because it's a different world now with the movie theaters. You're just not going to see the $1 billion movie. It's never going to happen again. I think the only chance maybe would be Christmas's Spider-Man movie. But if that, I mean, I could very easily see that topping out at 600 to 700 million too, which is a big number. But you know, without that free 200 million from China distribution, it's going to be very difficult. Spider-Man has a good history of getting international releases, so perhaps it won't have the same issues. But you never know. You can't just count on it. And how much of it will they have to edit out? Because you know they're going to have to inject some garbage to it. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.